excited to be here because I have the pleasure of talking with two Whitefish Bay High School alums who have decided to share their incredible theater gifts with our program this fall by JT directing our fall play, Almost Maine, and Christy being our esteemed costume designer. So I'm so excited to have both of them with us tonight. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of get to know them, get to know their show, because we have such an opportunity of learning from these amazing people. So to begin, I think we should start by discussing how all of us know each other. So I'll go first and then you, okay. So I started directing at Whitefish Bay High School when JT and Christy were freshmen. So they kind of grew up as I grew up as a director. And so I had the pleasure of directing JT. I actually had the pleasure of teaching and directing Christy. JT oftentimes was in our acting, part of our acting community, whereas Christy was an amazing crew member.
Well, I know Amber from the first show, or Miss KIND-KEPPEL, from the first show that she directed me in called The Odd Couple. We then went off into college land. I graduated with a BFA in musical theater, and now I'm really excited to come back to a very different program than when both of us were a part of the theater program, but that's my story.
I know K squared, SK squared, from world literature. She blew my mind in that class, and then I got involved in theater a little bit later in high school. I started with stage crew, just doing set building, painting, and then I got interested in stage management, and that was what I went to college for, was stage management and set design. And then in college I decided that costume design seemed to be the world that I wanted to be in, because I got to create with my hands and explore different aspects of my artistic side that really put a lot of good things together for me.
It is an incredible, incredible honor for me to have worked with JT and Christy when they were young adults, and now to see them as these successful, passionate theater professionals who want to share that with our students. So the next thing I'd love to hear them talk about is what helped them realize that they wanted to return to Whitefish Bay High School and share so much of who they are and what they do with our students.
This is currently our 10-year anniversary from graduating high school. And we went and saw Les Mis.
Yep.
And I was blown away by where Whitefish Bay Theater has come to in the time that since we were there, and I think we both were very moved.
Yeah, it was insane.
And yeah, it just sort of stirred us to want to come back.
Coming from my background of wanting to come back to Whitefish Bay, is I'm coming from an educator standpoint. I work over at First Stage, and I work with kids all the time, and many of them go to Whitefish Bay High School, and I have this aspect of wanting to teach, right? And I love teaching, and I love kids, no matter the age, and teaching theater specifically and incorporating that into life skills that they can use, because that's what happened in my life, you know,
Yeah.
and passing those skills and giving back to Whitefish Bay. I know both of us feel very strong about that. Is just going to be really rewarding, and then stepping into an even stronger program than when we left it is even cooler.
So every time I go into the Whitefish Bay High School auditorium, I immediately know I'm there because of it has this certain smell. It has a feel to it. So now that's my experience, but what I'm curious about is what these two amazing folks are most excited about in returning to the space of their youth.
It'll be nice to work with young minds and kind of see new ideas. And I think this play gives a really great opportunity to relate to anybody.
I think that something I'm really looking forward to is just stepping in the space again. I know that we had many assemblies in that space. We have done so many shows in that space. We have been in the audience for some of those shows, and I think that what I'm really excited about is the aspect of the theater. It's like a company.
Right.
Like there's a set crew now. There is like, I mean, we had a set crew, but like now it's like a set crew. You know,
it was
and
just like me and a teacher.
yeah. Now there are people that are super passionate about like wanting to learning how like to do that and possibly do it as a career. We have those like high schoolers that are coming and wanting to like audition to not just like be in it, but to do the work. And then we have like awesome talent behind the scenes in every aspect. I'm as like a former Whitefish Bay actor to step into the director role for Whitefish Bay is like super exciting because of all the cool faces that we have, that I have like surrounding me and supporting in every direction.
So as we talked about before, JT works at First Stage and really changes people's lives through the work that he does there. And Christy also works in the theater world in Milwaukee. And I was wondering, Christy, if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I work for the Milwaukee Ballet as the wardrobe mistress. So Sue Crosby, who has done the costumes for many Whitefish Bay productions in the past, I've helped her pull some costumes that we've rented out to her for you guys to wear. And I also freelance costume design all over Milwaukee. I've done films, I've done plays, musicals, and yeah, so I do costumes. I've been doing it professionally for 6 years. It is really fun to explore characters and how they express themselves with clothing, and I think that this show is going to give us a really good opportunity to explore, okay, what is this character, what do they wear, and what does it say about them?
This year, we are going to do the fall production of Almost Maine. And this show it's a really popular show, it's a really powerful show. Why Almost Maine?
When I think of Almost Maine, I think of the big umbrella of love, right? Best friends can be in love with each other. There can be lovers that are in love with each other. There can be a father and son or a mother and daughter or whatever it is, that kind of love. And each of those loves is very specific. So the show of Almost Maine takes place in the place Almost Maine, and you start to see these different characters all happening at the exact same time in the same world, but these different versions of love. I think that the show can have you laughing. I think that the show can have you crying or feeling emotional, very emotional. But I think at the very end of it all, there is a sweet smile.
As many of you know, when COVID hit, one of the most difficult parts for those of us who are in the arts is the way we couldn't continue telling our stories through live theater. So when we were deciding what fall looked like, we wanted to make sure that we could do two things. First, that we could make sure we kept our students safe. And second, that no matter what happened with the pandemic, we could continue telling compelling stories and share them with our community. What I'd love for you to do is to tell us a little bit about what the game plan is so that we are able to, yes, indeed, keep our kids safe, but also continue telling stories.
It's a crazy time we're in, but theater can exist. It's different, right? It is what it is, but it can exist. And I think that is the first and foremost, most crucial thing to say, that this is going to be different, but we're still going to do the thing.
Yeah, I mean, theater adapts. It learns how to adapt to our times. I think both of our companies are currently adapting to the times, doing virtual content, and so that's where we have to end up. We're prepared to do so.
And actually, it's kind of a little bit of a blessing. I kind of look for the positives during all this. So I've worked and seen 31 shows this whole summer where there have been grids taped 6 feet apart, and it actually improved a lot of our own acting choices. So we're not going to ignore the fact that we are going to be 6 feet apart. We're going to in fact utilize that as an acting choice. It's super doable. You'll be wearing masks. I'll be wearing masks. We'll all be wearing masks.
They can match your costume.
Yeah, magic over here. And I think that there's a common misconception of how do you do theater in a mask? How can you be heard? How can you do all of these things? And
How can you express?
yeah, how can you express? It can totally be done. I've seen like 3rd graders do it. I've seen 12th graders do it, right? And it's just, again, what Christy said, adapting, right? And that adapting will also come as a blessing for this show specifically. So it's exciting.
I can't wait to see this distanced, masked production. But as many of you know, COVID-19 is unpredictable. So I just want you to know that if something happens and we're unable to do this production in the way we vision right now, we have no problem turning this into a digital platform where our story will be continue to be heard. Because Whitefish Bay Theater is transformative, and we want to make sure that we are able to continue telling stories, and not even a pandemic will be able to stop us.